Okay, so hi everybody. Today I'm going to make a video about practicing towards being able to do the splits. A lot of you guys have asked for this, so I'm going to make it a little bit of a longer video to not just show you how to stabilize yourself in the splits, but also with some sort of exercises and some ways to practice getting there, okay? Before starting at all though, I just want to make something really clear that I think a lot of people really want to become flexible, and that's great and it's fun and there's lots of interesting things you can do with flexibility. But I also think it's really important to remember that it's important to stabilize at the same time, okay? And to build strength in the muscles. So when you're moving through the exercises with me today, I want you to be thinking as much of strength work as flexibility work, okay? So it's that sort of like harmony between strength and flexibility that yoga is so great at, and I just really encourage you to just be aware of that as we move through the practice today. In the video, I would suggest making sure you have a yoga strap. Obviously you can use something else that you've home crafted as an equivalent. And I would also recommend having 2 yoga bricks or something else such as just really big firm books, okay? But we're going to use the props lots today, okay? So making sure you have something handy before you start is going to be really important. So, as ever, I think we'll start off in a child's pose, find the breath, and just see where we move from there. Excellent. So, in your child's pose today, find a comfortable position. For me, my comfortable position is big toes together, knees opening out to the side. Other people like their knees together. It's really up to you. And then just come to stretch your arms forward and release your head down. And then just start to breathe. And I always encourage people to settle in a child's pose or a restorative position before moving further in towards whatever practice or routine they're trying to discover. Just to sort of take note of how you're feeling physically. So maybe you're feeling more open than usual or less open than usual. Maybe there's a niggle here or there's an ache there, and just sort of checking in with that and knowing that during the practice that you need to just sort of keep an eye out for what's going on in that area, okay? And then also just making the commitment to yourself to not just work on flexibility work today, but also find the strength that complements it and will ultimately mean that you can become flexible, but you can keep it safe, so you're not overextending ligaments, okay? You want to be stretching muscles, not ligaments, okay? And we'll talk about that more in a bit. But for now, let's just return towards a child's pose, come out of it, and we'll just take 3 deep breaths. So take a deep breath in, and out. Again, deep breath in, and out. One more, deep breath in, and out. All right. So just come to draw yourself all the way up towards a kneeling tabletop, spreading through the fingertips, and as ever, let's just take a deep breath in, release the belly button down, send the chest forward. But in your cow pose today, what I'd really like you to think about is pushing to the outer edges of the knees, okay? You can't see anything different in my pelvis, but as I do this, basically what I could feel is the sacroiliac joint that basically joins the base of my spine to the iliac crest, yeah? Basically that's where you sort of feel your bum. It's a slightly movable joint. Basically what that means is it has a little bit of wiggle room. You know, it's not an elbow that you can bend massively, but there's that little bit of wiggle room. And as you push to the outer edge of the knees, you might be able to feel that open. And we just want to feel a little bit of mobility in this area. And then let's just counter that, draw the pubic bone in towards the chin. And as you do this, try and squeeze your bum to sort of draw that joint back together. Again, deep breath in, release the belly button down, and then again, push to the outer edge of the knees. It's nothing extreme, but I just want you to feel that little joint expand a little bit, okay? And then complementing that with the element of strength, squeeze the bum, pull the pubic bone to the chin. So always doing both. You can be flexible and strong at the same time. That's ideal. Lengthen through the chest, push to the outer edge of the knees, feel the sacroiliac joint. Yeah, you're going to get used to that. Start to open. It's the fused part of the spine at the bottom. And then exhale, pull pubic bone towards the chin. So each time you come through your cat-cow from now on, can you think about that little bit of a roll and that little bit of an open in the pelvis? And then let's just tuck our toes under, find our downward facing dogs. Now, obviously, when you're learning to do the splits, it's all about getting flexibility to the legs, okay? So in your downward facing dog, what I often see people do is this sort of running through motion. Yeah, and that's really nice, it feels really relaxing. But what I really want you to get used to doing is pushing. Let's just bend the left knee and push the right heel down, pushing in towards a stretch and holding it, okay? So as you stretch, I'm going to really simplify this. You have nerves in your body called stretch receptors, yeah? And they basically send little messages to your brain to say, you're stretching, and then it hits a point where it says, oh, that's too much, and it stops you from stretching. Okay, I'm really simplifying, but you sort of get the vague idea. And so if you can hold into it, the nerve will continue to send those impulses to the brain, but as you can continue to hold, the brain gets used to it. And I often use this analogy in class, not necessarily the nicest one, but when I go into a cheese shop, my nose immediately says, oh, get out of here, yeah, it doesn't suit me. But if I stay there for long enough, it's not that I can't smell the cheese anymore, it just doesn't feel so abrasive. So you want to wait for the muscle to get to that point where it doesn't feel so abrasive as a stretch. And then you'll swap sides. So you really saw how long we paused there for, okay? So bend your right knee, push your left heel down, and then just allow it to get to the point where the muscle starts to feel more at ease with the concept of stretch. It's not going to stop stretching, obviously. You know, you can always go a little bit further in towards a stretch. But take your time. And if you're able to breathe really deeply at the same time, okay, what you're doing is you're flooding the body with fresh oxygen, and the more oxygen your body has, the happier it is, okay? Let's just swap sides. And when you're stretching, you want to switch on the part of the nervous system, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the sort of one that happens when you're chilling out, basically, rather than that fight or flight one. And a really great way to stimulate that nervous system is to have slow, steady, calm breath, yeah? So keep that supply of oxygen really constant, slow, calm, relaxed. Swap sides. And what I'd say is whenever you start to feel a little bit stressed or a little bit like, oh, this is all getting a bit too much, drop into a child's pose, take a few breaths, let the nervous system calm down again, and then return back. So take your time, okay? All right, so find a regular downward facing dog for now, and we're going to continue to find some stretches. So lift the right leg up behind you. Now bend through the right knee. What I often see happen is people turn their entire hip open and they turn the chest towards the side, yeah? What I want you to try and do though is keep the shoulders in line, squeeze the bum and just lift the right knee as high as your right knee can go so you feel the stretch all the way down the back of the left leg. But it's not about how high can I lift my hips are staying level and it's just my knee. And as my hips are lower, my knee can't go as high, but trust me, I feel the stretch far greater, yeah? So just feel that stretch on that side. And then let's just pop the right foot back down, okay? Obviously you can sequence this in whatever way you want to, but I'm just showing you what the stretches might be like. So let's just lift the left leg up, bend the knee. It's easy to see on this side, so you don't want to roll all the way like that. Keep the body in line. Drop the left hip down and then just lift the knee, and then you can feel the stretch, not just to the groin, which happens when you're turning. If you lift it up, I can really feel it all the way down and towards my calf, but my knee isn't nearly as high as it could have been, yeah? And then pop the left foot back down, yeah? So just be mindful when you're doing that you're stretching the leg, not just the groin. So let's lift the right leg up again, just to give us a little bit of a prep, and then pull the right foot forward and just pop the right foot between the hands, give it a helping hand if you need to, and drop the left knee down. So we're going to come into our low lunge. You've all done this before. And what the likelihood is because it feels so satisfying, doesn't it? We lift the arms up, sorry, I nearly fell over, and you just sort of sink straight into the hips, and how satisfying does that feel, yeah? But what happens when you do this is not only are you dumping into the lower back, and the sort of, you can tell that that's happening because my belly is really collapsing onto my thigh, so not only is that hurting my back, it's not actually giving me a really good stretch. What it's doing is it's stretching out the ligaments. So you've got muscles, you know what they are, yeah? And you've got tendons, that's what joins a muscle to a bone, yeah? That's at the end, the scrawny part. And then you've got a ligament, that joins bone to bone. Yeah, so you don't want to stretch ligament, that's got to be a strong structure, yeah? Nice strong structure, holding it in place. So what I'm doing here is I'm stretching my ligaments, I'm stretching my tendon, and it feels really acute into my hip.
but I want to make it a more general stretch of the muscle. So, bring your right hand to your knee and push back, yeah? Now, as you push back, you can see I've created this right angle between my belly and my front thigh. So, bring your right hand to your belly, your left hand to your lower spine, and then my right hand, I'm going to exaggerate this, pulls my belly in and up, yeah? I'll show you that again. And my left hand pushes my tailbone down. So this way I'm keeping the angle from my knee to my hip to my shoulder as straight as I can be. Now, squeeze your left buttocks. That's the other reason I don't like this, is because we tend to forget about our buttocks. So squeeze your left buttocks. You need to keep that element of strength. That's really important. You can feel the hamstrings start to fire up. Don't worry, we'll stretch the hamstrings. But for now, as we sink, I don't have to go very far at all. I pause there, I pull my pubic bone back up, and I can feel the stretch not just to my hip, but to my quad, yeah? So you don't have to sink that down. Squeeze the bum, keep tilting the pubic bone, and then you're drawing up, and I can feel the stretching towards my quad, as well as my hip. Whereas when I sink down, it's acutely just into my hip, okay? So push back, squeeze the bum, and find the stretches there, okay? So you can stay here, and I'd stay here for 5 breaths, okay? Get to that point that I spoke about before, where the muscles, yes, they're stretching, but you can survive it. But what hasn't happened is my left buttocks hasn't fallen asleep. Yeah, that is on fire, and that's actually starting to vibrate. So I don't want you to just work into flexibility, work into strength. That way when you do your splits, you can keep doing them for years without having damaged your body, yeah? Okay, so that's a really lovely way to do it, is it encourages control. Another nice quad stretch is you can bring your left hand down. This is where you're going to need your strap. I'm going to create a loop with my strap, like that. Left hand comes down, and I'm going to go fishing for my right foot, yeah? So that's why I suggest using this strap, because for some people, grabbing hold of the foot isn't actually possible. Even if you think it is possible to grab your foot and pull it down, can I encourage you to use a strap, yeah? This way, you're not turning the chest towards the side. Sometimes I really encourage this chest opener, but we're not opening the chest, we're doing the splits, we're stretching our quad. So keep the chest level towards the front, pull the left foot in, and you can even, what I quite like doing nowadays, is I take my strap as long as possible, I'll turn diagonally so you can see it a bit better. I take my strap as long as possible and I feed it between my body and my right thigh. And then this way I can pull in towards a quad stretch. I can even lower down towards my forearms, but my chest is still definitely facing the front, yeah? So use a strap, yeah? And then you can always pause and hold here for as long as you want, okay? So those are my 2 favourite quad stretches, okay? Because they protect the spine, they engage the core, they engage my buttocks, so 1, pulling up, and 2, drawing the foot in, yeah? I'm just going to show this all on one side, and then afterwards you can always do it on the second side too, okay? So those are my favourite quad stretches, okay? You then want to try and find a stretch to the front of the hip, quite primarily, and it might even move a little bit across, yeah? So you've got a muscle that comes all the way down from the core, all the way across the hip. So it's not quite the core, but it comes from the top of the hip all the way across, so it crosses the joint. That's quite rare to have a muscle in your body that crosses entirely across the joint, okay? So you can find a lizard pose for this, okay? And in your lizard pose, you can use bricks, because sometimes sinking really low down just creates that acute pain. Or you can pop your forearms down, okay? Forearms could be on bricks, they could be on the mat. Now, the reason this is different from that low lunge and just sinking in is you can see my spine's at a completely different angle, my hips at a completely different angle. It's really acute. Whereas when I'm down, my hip, my thigh, my body is all at the same angle, and you can sink and you can release, yeah? You can also do this, obviously, without bricks, but if doing this without bricks just means you're curving the spine, just because we're trying to work to the splits doesn't mean we should be causing our chest to sort of hunch over and feel uncomfortable and tight. So just because you're doing the splits, you want to take care of the rest of your body. So if that feels tight, just come onto gorilla fist so that you're not aching the wrists, and you can pause here, yeah? So that is the best way to stretch out the back of the left leg, okay? And you can imagine in splits, in this one, we're stretching out on this side with the right foot forward, we're stretching the front of the left leg and the back of the right leg. Obviously, when you swap sides, you do the other leg, okay? So, you need to stretch out your hamstring, okay? Your right hamstring. So I want to make this focus. There's lots of hamstring stretches, but I want to make this focus towards the splits, obviously. So in this hamstring stretch, grab bricks, okay? Make sure you've got bricks. You don't want to try and do this down on the mat, because as you can see, I'm curving my spine, I'm creating this tightness, and we don't need to do that, yeah? If you haven't done the chest opener video, give that one a go, yeah? Because we talk about in that one why you want to keep the chest open. But for now, just trust me, you want to keep the chest open. So, left hip above the left knee. Get that angle. You don't want to be sitting all the way back down. I mean, you can sit all the way back down for a stretch. That's a really lovely one. But since we're working in towards splits, this is a really useful variation to take. So, hips above knees, shoulders above hands, on towards bricks. And then don't forget to flex your left toes. If they're pointing, you stretch out through the hamstring, but you don't actually stretch out the calf, and you need to stretch out both. So if you're struggling to stretch out both, take your strap, wrap it around the calf, leave your left hand on the brick for stability, and pull the right calf in, yeah? That way, I promise you, as you extend the chest, because remember, we're not punching, as you extend the chest, as you tilt the tailbone out behind you, it's that same sensation in that cow pose, as you tilt the tailbone out behind you, you'll fold, you'll stretch the hamstring and the calf, yeah? So really pull those toes in. Use the strap, okay? Use that strap to pull in. Obviously, your hand could reach it and pull down. But what I find is that crunches the right shoulder to my ear, and it doesn't engage my back. So I always use the strap, even if I feel like I could grab a body part with that one, yeah? Gives me that little bit of extra sort of, it just makes me aware of what I'm doing, probably. That's what it probably is. And then sink down. And so you want to hold this for a while, wait for the nerves to stop freaking out, yeah? Still going to feel a stretch, you can always go further, but you don't want to get to that point of then, you don't want to sort of jump straight out of it, yeah? And hold there for a while. At this point in splits, you can start to take a seesaw from your lizard lunge to your fold. But the reason I wouldn't go straight into that seesaw is otherwise you're sort of hitting a nerve, it says, oh, that's too strong a stretch, and you bounce back and you go, oh, that's too strong, oh, that's too strong. And obviously you're not thinking that, but your nerves might be, yeah? So you want to hold in each stretch, and then calmly, with the breath, remember you want to keep that parasympathetic, the chilling out, calming nervous system going, yeah? And then forward, back, and then forward. Sorry, you can hear my dog now barking. It's part of the working from home glory, is that she is around us always. And then back, and then forward. Now continue to use your bricks, turn them up towards a higher setting. But as we come back this time, I'm going to slide my left knee further back, so you can see my bum is no longer above my knee. And then I can pull forward. So that stretch suddenly becomes stronger, but you want to stay slow, and don't forget to squeeze your left buttocks, yeah? Pull your belly button back, protect yourself. Don't just drop straight into it and then push back. As you push back, you can slide your right foot further forward, so it's just so the angle's becoming greater. This way, as you come forward, that's going to be even stronger, a stretch, yeah? But move slowly. I'm obviously moving quite fast, but I want you to move slowly and take your time when you're practicing these, okay? Hips back, slide further forward. But continue to use the bricks. Without the bricks, I'd be curving my spine. You can always lower the bricks if you would like to. And if you hit a point where you say, I just know I can't go any further, you can grab one of your bricks and just pop it underneath to give you support. I'm bringing my right hand to my brick on the other side, my left hand to my hip, and I can just sink down. Obviously, you have a third brick or a cushion, that might be even nicer. And you can just hold here and allow the body to get used to it for 5 breaths, yeah? Obviously, that brick could be higher, that brick could be lower. And then in time, at the end of whatever the stretches you've done, I just want you to sit upright, take a deep breath in, hold where you can, and then as you breathe out, just sink as deep down as you feel like you'd like to go. And I keep my bricks even though I can sink down in towards my hips, because my bricks, I'm pushing my hands into them and it pulls my body back. So instead of folding, which can feel quite nice, I push my hands into them. If my hands were to move, they'd go forwards. And as I push my hands into them, I can squeeze my left buttocks, because I'm not forgetting about my buttocks. Yeah, I'm not just saying that fall asleep. I can re-angle so my left hip comes down. You don't just want to sway all the way to the right and get this bend in the left knee. So I can re-angle, pull my hips a little bit more towards the left and sink. Again, push your hands in towards the mat, re-angle, and then pull the hips over and sink. And look, I'm always sort of taking circles with my hips, but my buttocks hasn't fallen asleep, yeah? So deep breath in to lengthen, squeeze the bum. Exhale, sink with or without your brick underneath your thigh. 2 more, yeah? Deep breath in. Exhale out. 1 more, deep breath in. And exhale out. Now my favourite way to get out of this is to roll towards the right side, otherwise you're just going to stagger the foot back. Support with your left hand so that you're using your arm strength rather than pulling straight into the quad and the quad and the hip that you just stretched, and then come back, yeah? And then obviously you could go through that on the second side as well, yeah? So my top tips would be, use bricks, use the strap, okay? Even if you feel like you don't have to. And then just remembering, yeah, that as fun as those splits can be, it's so much fun, it can feel so satisfying if that's something you're doing for the first time ever, to ensure that you're looking after the muscle as well, and you're strengthening it, okay? So always returning back to the strengthening side of your yoga practice as well, bit of it before the splits, bit of it after the splits, and trying to not just work on the splits all by themselves, that would be my recommendation. Anyway, as ever guys, let me know what you think. Pop any feedback into the comments below. Please do like and subscribe. Let me know what videos you wanted me to make. I've got a great long list already, but please do feel free to add to it. And do, of course, as ever, share with as many friends and families as you'd like.